Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we'll tell you what the most important things in the land are to us, and we're going to talk to you about the Disneyland Hotel. All of that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, and points around Southern California, this is the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged. This is the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged, episode 741 for the week of August 20th, 2018. The DIS Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Let the experts at Dreams help you plan every aspect of your next Disneyland vacation, all at no extra charge. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friend and co-host, Mr. Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
And out in California by the lovely Miss Katrina Manzoni.
Hi, everybody.
And our associate producer, Mr. Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everyone.
Or if you want to piss him off, it's Taylor Couch. Okay, so welcome, everybody. Hope you are having a good week so far, albeit for you it's Monday right now because that's when you'll be watching this. So your week just started. There's plenty of time left for things to go horribly wrong. For us, it's Wednesday, so we're kind of midway through the week. But just the only thing I really have for housekeeping is a reminder to everyone that we are trying to raise $100,000 for Give Kids the World. We are looking for people willing to either donate themselves. We've been asking people to donate $100 if they can, but of course, $5, $10, $25 is fine. But also to ask their friends, family members, and coworkers to pitch in. We're almost, we're more, 3/4 of the way there. As of the time we're recording this, we're about $74,000 that we've raised in the last 3 weeks, which is amazing, which means we've sent approximately 12 families, 13 families now, to Give Kids the World. If you're not familiar with Give Kids the World, head out to gktw.org, gktw.org as in Give Kids the World, and see the amazing work these folks do. So we're really hoping by the end of the month to hit our $100,000 goal. So if you can help us out, it would be appreciated. So is there anything else? Oh, we want to talk about our little giveaway.
Fist, yeah.
Why don't you talk to the people about the Bejeweled Fist?
Okay, so you may remember a couple weeks back we talked about a little contest we were having here for one of these. They sold out in Disneyland in like a day, and then they didn't come back. They're the Infinity Gauntlet, or as Pete affectionately calls them, the Bejeweled Fists. We have 2 that we are giving away, and you have to do 2 specific things if you want to win one of these. One of those is you have to go on Twitter and follow Dreams Unlimited Travel, and their Twitter handle is @DreamsUTravel. There is a tweet pinned to the top of the profile that you have to retweet, and then you also have to be following Dreams Unlimited Travel for a chance to win not just that gauntlet, but also a copy
Let's give it a shot.
of Avengers Infinity War on Blu-ray, and it's the Blu-ray DVD digital copy. So no, there's no DVD in these anymore. I'm going back to Target after this. They're cutting down now, but you get the digital copy, so you get your Disney movies everywhere and all that jazz.
And now you can cut to me. Bejeweled Fist and a movie.
So that's one way to win it, is Twitter. And then another way is if you go on Instagram and follow the.diz on Instagram. If you scroll down not too far, just 5 posts ago, there is a picture, and we had our lovely hand model Craig Williams wearing the Infinity Gauntlet for that. And what you need to do for that one is follow the Diz on there and tag 2 friends who you also think might be interested in winning this, and they could also have a chance to win if they do the same. So and again, that's for the Gauntlet, which is a sipper mug. You might not be able to tell. Could you hand me your fist again?
Well, that's an outtake.
So you wear it on your left hand as Pete had it, but then like the liquid goes in the thumb here if you're watching this. And it is also a good tool to really just, when somebody's talking during the movie, just give them a quick old punch in the side of the head.
That's one use for it.
Yeah, so many things, So, but yeah. So those are the two ways if you want to win that.
And
we're gonna
keep in mind,
announce-
and
go
just keep in mind that we have 2 of these to give away. So we're giving one away on Twitter. We are giving another one away on Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to announce that contest is ending. That's why we're telling you about it one last time, because now the movie is out. So we're going to announce the winner by next week. So
we will announce the winners on next week's.
So that's the 27th, right?
27th.
So that means we're going to be picking a winner probably by the sometime next week. So you better get to doing this. Sometime in the next couple of days. This goes out on the 20th. We will be recording that episode during this week. Normally we're doing this live in the same week, so it's hard for my brain to process these things. But I'd say it's a safe bet that you should get doing this by Wednesday.
Also, I want to give so absolutely do that, but I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine on Twitter, Sam Carter, who's a Disney artist, and I met him at D23 last year, and he posted this artwork that he had done for Disney. They were going to do something with the Rocket Rods tunnel for like an event, and they asked him to create a mural, and he did this mural of imagining Tomorrowland as Tron, in like a Tron vibe. Unbelievable. I nearly leapt through my screen when I saw it, and he's posting a lot of cool stuff, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's really, really talented. And if you hold on a second, I will find his Twitter handle because I didn't think to do that.
Yeah, he's got some really awesome stuff going up there that I saw too. With he's posting pictures of parades that never happened and things like that.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's actually really cool stuff if you're a Disney fan to see.
It really is. Keep talking, Tyler, because I need to find his.
Yeah, so I mean, he has one thing up there that I saw that was from California. It was supposed to be a parade in California Adventure that's about the ocean. So it had all these different, parade floats that were themed to the ocean. They had Stitch in his little Elvis costume with the waves around him and things like that. So very cool art on this guy's Twitter, and yeah.
And
Did you find it?
Again, his name is Sam Carter, Carter, but his Twitter handle is @Cartar Sauce. So Cartar Sauce is his Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow him. He's got some really, really cool stuff going up there. And today he posted something about, not something he was commissioned to do, just, as a fan, a fun idea was Universal's answer to the Haunted Mansion could be a Beetlejuice dark ride.
Oh my God, yes. I saw that too.
Right?
And
How cool.
I died. I was like, that would be a fantastic idea.
I would be, and people are giving their ideas. Universal needs to do this. Universal needs to do this because that was...
Stop with the screens. Just do a cool dark ride. I would be so happy.
Amen.
Even though Beetlejuice does scare me, the movie still.
It'd be a lot better than their old Rockin' Graveyard show too. So,
agreed. So yeah, just go ahead and follow him on Twitter. I just want to give him a shout out this week.
I just realized too that the day this is airing, I'm actually in Disneyland right now at this moment in time.
Yep.
So I am I was just doing the math that I'm leaving for California the day after we record this. So when this airs, I will be in the park. So if you see me in the park, come say hello, please. I will be with 5 people you won't recognize, but you can come say hello.
Will you be in the Power Rangers outfit?
I don't think they're going to allow me in there.
No.
So with that on, but...
Be that's a little too tight,
well,
sir.
Yeah, speaking of that, I will be at the Anaheim Convention Center that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for that Power Rangers convention. So if that's something you're going to, you can find me there too.
But that will have already happened by the time this goes
I can't
up.
do this time travel stuff. I don't know how Marty McFly did it.
All right. So anything else in housekeeping?
No,
No, we're all good.
No,
All
just
right.
that I don't know how to tell time.
So let's go ahead and do most important things in the land to us this week. Now, mine this week is kind of juxtaposed against mine, a comment I made last week about the experience I had at the Grand Californian regarding their bell services. I got a phone call the other day from Lost and Found at Grand Californian saying I left some items in the room. And I'm like, I know I always leave behind toiletries I don't need or whatever, if it's like there's always something jettisoned at the end of a trip, but it's never anything of value. So I called them back and she said to me, you left a bag with some Club 33 items in it. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Because I could have sworn everything I had, I packed, but I hadn't fully unpacked at that point. And then she described to me what was in this bag. It was a Dooney and Burke Club 33 bag that I had bought.
Yeah, you bought two of them, yeah.
And an ornament that I had bought. And I was like, oh my God. Now, these aren't obviously, I'm not a member of Club 33. A friend of mine is. And, we got together and hung out in the lounge for a little while. And I always take
the show, I believe, too.
I always take the opportunity to, go buy some Club 33 merch when I'm up there. And so, the fact that, think about it for a second. Most hotels, here's this really nice, expensive purse. How many housekeepers would have just taken that, right? And they called, they told me they had this stuff. She described everything to me and then said, would you like us to ship it to the address we have on file? Standard shipping is no charge. Which I'm like, okay, that's, first of all, you found the stuff. Second of all, the housekeepers were really honest. Third of all, you get in touch with me and you offer to ship this back. It's my mistake, not yours. You shouldn't have to pay to ship that to me. I should be paying you. And she says, if you would like it sent out priority, though, then you would have to pay for that. And I'm like, I want that sent priority. Just mainly because I felt like I should pay. That it should not be on the hotel. That was my fault. So, big kudos to Grand Californian for that level of customer service. And people are saying to me, oh, does it make up for what happened with Bell Services? I'm not really dinging them for what happened with Bell Services. I wanted people to know, if you're going to check into that hotel, be aware of this stuff. Was it annoying? Yeah. Is it going to keep me from staying there? Of course not. Stuff like this, though, that makes me feel so much better about staying at that hotel and how well it's run. And, in spite of whatever minor momentary failures may exist from, in any given moment, overall, this hotel is so well run, so well staffed, and the service there is beyond measure. So not every hotel would do this. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out this week to housekeeping in particular at the Grand Californian. And always tip your housekeepers. Always tip your house. My mother, I know most people don't.
You kind of forget it,
You forget to do it.
Accident, yeah.
There have been times where I've forgotten. My mother worked as a housekeeper. So she's always been really big on make sure you tip your housekeeper.
And they're actually, the housekeepers at Grand Californian are incredibly friendly. They're always saying hello, good morning, asking about my day. Mm-hmm. I'm the type of person who leaves the room thing on for I don't need to clean it twice a day. I'm a once every 2 or 3 days probably kind of person. But they're always, oh, do you want me to clean it today? Do you want the chocolates? And I'm like, oh, okay. They're very nice.
So. Yeah, and I agree. You cannot walk through a hallway at the Grand Californian without every cast member you walk by saying hello.
Yeah.
And saying good morning. But, yeah, so kudos to the Grand Californian. Tyler, let's go over to you. What's your most important thing in the land this week?
So for me, it's not necessarily in the land. It's probably about an hour away.
It's
in
land
Sherman
adjacent.
Oaks. And it is at the Van Eaton Galleries. It's been going on for a little bit now, but they have this huge collection of all this stuff from Disneyland and some stuff from Disney World too. And it's basically like this whole museum they've put together. And then at the end when it closes, it's gonna be all this stuff is gonna be auctioned off. So it is closing in a couple days here. It's the 24th of August. It'll be closing, and then they're going to be doing the auction on the 25th and 26th. But this is like big time stuff. Like they actually have the sea serpent from the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea attraction.
Wow.
Like the entire.
How much is
thing
that
there.
going for?
That thing was estimated at 50,000, I believe.
Yeah.
$50,000, and I'm sure it'll go up from there. They had like a full functioning Jose animatronic from the Tiki Room. They had Space Mountain, ride vehicles and
The pictures from Haunted Mansion.
yeah, exactly. They had the portraits from Haunted Mansion and from the Stretching Gallery. And the coolest one of the coolest ones was they had the ride vehicle from Peter Pan too.
Anybody want to guess how much that's going to be going for? Do you guys want to try to guess?
I'd say about 70,000.
A little higher.
A little higher, yeah.
Really?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Yeah.
100.
$100,000, yeah. $100,000 is what they think it's going to go for. So, I mean, it's really cool. I know it's only happening for a few more days, but it's really cool if you're in the Sherman Oaks area, which not everybody is obviously, but it is one of those things to really check out because it's like just a big history museum.
When does the auction end?
It's
26th?
the 26th is the last day. So the
Right,
auction
but you
is
can also
happening-
bid on all of this stuff online. So let's make sure we put that in the show notes page.
Yeah,
People
definitely.
can check that out.
What's really cool about the event is I really actually like how they handled this auction too. It was very clever because they let everyone. It was free to go and just come and take as many pictures as you want with all this like Disneyland memorabilia, which then people are using hashtags and all this thing. So like you keep seeing it on Instagram and Twitter and stuff of everyone there, and you're like, what is this? And it gets you curious and into it. So it really spread the word very effectively about the auction.
Yeah, it was
I feel
smart.
like.
It was a very smart use of social media
Yeah.
on their part in terms of promoting this. So
And they had a lot of great picture opportunities. Like we got a picture in the Skyway bucket, and and then obviously you have to Instagram it, so you have to like hashtag stuff and tag people, and it went. I mean, they were really nice too because when I was like Instagramming stuff, they would like it, and then they kind of like retweeted some stuff that I did, and just to see like all this cool stuff, like I was blown away by the annual pass price. They had like an old sign for annual passes, and I mean they were going for like $150 in 2000, and now I'm like thinking about it, and it's like it's been 18 years later, and it's like 12 times the price.
Yeah. One of the coolest things too is they had a full-on rocket rod. For those that don't know, the People Mover was taken out of Disneyland, and they put in this failed ride called Rocket Rods that only lasted for about a year, and they actually have a ride vehicle from that attraction, and it is actually really cool to see it again. I'm
sorry, why don't they bring back People Mover?
The rocket rods destroyed the foundation of the People Mover because it would like go really fast and then it would have to brake and to take the turn, but it was like that it was doing it. You remember when like Test Track opened but then had to close for 2 years because the buildings were creating the force of like the cars were creating that force, and it was like making the building unsound, so they had to like redo the foundation. The rumor was that rocket rods destroyed the foundation for that ride, for the People Mover when it did that. And then I think after that they cut the track too.
Well,
I mean, you can fix that.
Well, nothing is up to code anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to if they wanted to have that attraction open again, they'd have to put every single pylon, they'd have to do a whole new pylon, basically rip down the entire track and do it all again from the beginning. Which, you know what, I kind of think they should do, because that's one of the saddest parts of Tomorrowland is like, I think that Walt Disney always envisioned that it was like transportation based type of thing. Like, so everywhere you looked in Tomorrowland, there was movement, there was things going on, it looked alive. And that's a really sad part of it to me, is that there's no movement anymore. It doesn't really have that flow, So it's really sad.
Yeah.
But Katrina and I did do a live video on Facebook at Van Eaton Gallery, so I will put a link to it in the show notes if anybody wants to go back and watch it. And yeah, it was a really cool experience, and I would highly suggest it for anybody who's into Disney history whatsoever. And it's just in an old sports authority, and it was really fun. I would highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Called That's from Disneyland.
It's called That's from Disneyland is what Craig is telling me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Even though some things are from Disney World. It's weird. Like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, they still had a ride vehicle from there and some weird painted plywood that they're auctioning off for like $50,000. Build it yourself. I don't know.
But it wouldn't be the one from Disney World.
I guess.
So.
If I fired Rhino,
I was
then I'd have money
suggest
to go buy that.
we should be doing the next when we talked about our 1000th episode. We should have said what I envision for the future is every shot somebody's sitting in a different ride vehicle from the thing.
Yeah. All
There's
right. Well,
that $100,000 Peter Pan.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you for that, Tyler. Rhino, what about you?
So mine's not really necessarily specific, but like I said earlier, I am going to California for a week, and this is the first time in 2 years that I'm going for like purely vacation reasons again. But last time I was in Pasadena, this time I'm in Anaheim for the entire week. I rented a house with friends, and like I said, we're doing that convention over the weekend. But Monday, we've all agreed, and they bought their tickets. We're going to Disneyland, and it's their first trip. None of them have been to Disneyland before. So for me, I'm really looking forward to like Pixar Fest is winding down now, so it only has till September 3rd. So I'm looking forward to going through that the food guidebook and really just kind of hitting some of my favorites and like sharing. Really taking these Disney World people and showing them Disneyland and being kind of my own version of an Adventures by Disney guide for a day. That like, it makes me think of like when I was a kid and I used to like come to Florida to visit my my great grandmother, and like the anticipation we had that day. We'd wake up in the morning and you knew you were going to Disney. There was like something in the air, you could feel it, and I kind of look forward to that because I really want to just sit out, plan this day for these people, and like be this tour guide and show them all the highlights. What we gotta, where I'm gonna say we're gonna go right away. Obviously,
I can't imagine where would he take these people.
But my friends are big Marvel fans, so I'm and my friend does cosplays as like Doctor Strange. So I'm really excited to like see the Doctor Strange there and judge him. And then like my other friend did a Captain America one, so I'm like. And one of my friends who's going is a photographer as well, so I've been like really looking at the Disneyland like Instagram and just kind of trying to look at techniques to better myself with photography. And so one thing I want to really try to do this trip in Disneyland specifically is some like night long exposures there, because you can get some really cool movement. Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that is I always say, like, well, I'm not doing any work, but when you get there, you like can't stop yourself. It's one of those like it's like an addiction you can't let go of, because you're like, oh, this would be cool, and I want to share this with people, but like I look forward to kind of just being like, okay, take a beat, take a breath, and like take it all in and slow down and just enjoy this as a guest for a second, again, and share that love with people like that. It'll be an interesting experience. I think it's good to do that for anything you like, Disney World, Disneyland, because I think like if you slow down for a second and you take yourself out of like the annual pass holder or the local perspective, it'll give you a little bit of a refresh, and you can appreciate some things that maybe you've just taken for granted and stuff. So I kind of look forward to seeing it through like fresh eyes again,
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what's important to me, because I feel like it's going to give me that. Not that I've ever fallen out of love with Disneyland, but it's just there's just something about it when you're taking somebody on their first trip.
I agree.
Yeah, so I look forward to that. So we'll watch for those photos and stuff like that. So we'll see if any of them are any good, but I'm gonna try.
I'll judge.
Yeah,
I'll judge. All right, thank you, Rhino. Katrina, what about you?
So I was gonna talk about the closure of Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. So it closed for, I don't know, they didn't say but like really why they closed it. But it closed at the first weekend of August, and it's going to be for 6 weeks, and it's not opening up until September 27th. And for me, I'm sad but excited, because I want to know what they're going to be doing with the Enchanted Tiki Room and the Tropical Hideaway that's going to be next door. So
Yeah, I saw some like concept art of it that made it look like the back part of the Tiki Room is going to essentially be like a porch that steps down into the Tropical Hideaway or something, like, so that it
Like
make
another
it like
exit?
creates a unified area.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
kinda
And
cool.
I think that's what they're going to do, actually, Rano. I think they're going to probably. Well, I know that for sure. One thing they're going to do is put a ramp in, because right now it's just stairs on the front, and if you have
and an elevator on the side.
yeah, you got if you have a wheelchair or something, you need to go off to the side and get up on the elevator, which is not very convenient. But now they're going to put a ramp in there, and I'm just really curious what exactly Tropical Hideaway is going to entail, because it seems like it's going to be a really cool place to hang out, and we need Adventureland to expand. Like, it's so small, and there's so many people that are trying to get through there on a regular basis. So
I like the description was cool because it said that it was going to be like you were interacting with skippers from the Jungle Cruise. So it seems like it's like a Jungle Cruise Tiki Room fusion right there. And for anybody who doesn't know, those, you've got like the Tiki Room right here, and just like as you make the turn is the Jungle Cruise. So they are like in Disneyland, they're touching each other. So it's like the best of both worlds, I guess. It reminds me of like our Skipper Canteen, like how that was going to be. That's all Skipper personality based, that they're going to bring that into like a Tiki Room setting.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, the Tiki Room, when it was originally conceived, was supposed to be a restaurant in Disneyland.
Right.
And so they built a whole bunch of rooms in the back there that are really, when I was working there in custodial, I walked through there, and there's a bunch of space that is not being used for anything.
Oh, cool.
And so I think that it is going to probably either be, actually made into a kitchen at this point, or maybe they'll just expand it into more shops or an extra restaurant or whatever they're going to do. I'm really looking forward to it, because I just love tiki stuff, but you could tell by my shirt and everything, and all the
tiki
stuff back
things.
here. So it's like one of the most exciting things for me right now that I can think of all this stuff happening.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited to see what it's going to look like when you're on the Jungle Cruise, as you turn the corner and you see like Trader Sam, and I assume that it's going to be really cool and picturesque as you turn, and you're going to see like civilization again, and all the tables and people walking around, and just that kind of like tiki vibe, like with the city. You could probably like make like a little like a cityscape, sort of like a little town.
Yeah, a little town is a good way to put it. Yeah,
so,
because you're going to definitely be able to see it from the Jungle Cruise. When the Jungle Cruise is coming to an end and you're coming back to the dock, you're going to be able to see the Tropical Hideaway there in the distance.
What was back there before? Because since I've been going in 2015, it was always kind of like
Aladdin's Oasis.
That was Aladdin's Oasis.
Was it like a restaurant or a meet and greet or something?
Yeah, Aladdin's Oasis was a dinner show type of area.
Oh.
So they would put on a play of Aladdin, and then at the same time they would be serving dinner to everybody. That actually didn't last for very long. I do remember they had a really cool dessert that was like the genie's lamp with a bunch of like chocolate mousse in it, and you could actually eat the lamp was actually made out of chocolate, and there was raspberry. It was really kind of neat, actually, but I think they just decided that they weren't making the money they needed or something. I mean, I don't know exactly why they closed it. But then
it was a sitting area.
Yeah,
and then they tried doing like a dinner thing for Fantasmic, like a dining package. So it was like pre-made food in a plastic box, and then you would just go there and eat it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. It wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't impress me.
Even before Aladdin's Oasis, it used to be Tahitian Terrace. We have this little picture here, and Tahitian Terrace was just a place where you could go and watch. You could go and watch, the Tahitian dancers and have some food there. So it seemed like it was really cool, but I never got to experience it. I was too young. So
hopefully that's what the Tropical Hideaway is going to be, kind of like.
I think that's what they're trying to do, kind of a return to form of the Tahitian Terrace. So.
That sounds cool.
All right, does sound cool. All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's go ahead and move along and start our discussion about the Disneyland Hotel. Last week we talked about Paradise Pier. And this week, let's talk about the original, the first ever Disney hotel, which was the Disneyland Hotel, opened October 5th, 1955. So it has, well, the original part of it no longer exists, but it's been around for quite a while. 990 rooms that range between 360 and 415 square feet. Now, this was not owned by Disney when it opened. It was owned by the Rather Corporation in partnership with a woman named Helen Alvarez, I believe her name was. And there is the definitive book on the history of Disneyland by Don Ballard. We had Don on the show, on our Tuesday show last year, I believe it was. Wasn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I think it was like coming up on a year ago.
Yeah. He wrote, he got access from the Rather family to their vault with all this stuff in it that was like from like the original, the original hotel. And so he was able to put this incredible book together. It still ranks to this day as one of my favorite, if not my favorite Disney book. And if we can make sure we put that in a link to that, maybe in Amazon, on the show notes page, that would be awesome. Disney eventually purchased this hotel. I believe it was in the late 80s.
88, yeah.
88. And then in 1999, they downsized the hotel. So originally this hotel was, it was a motor court, basically. Where they were all external entries, like a motor lodge. Huge rooms, though. I mean, from what I saw. But in 1999, and then as time went on, I think in the 60s, they started building the towers, which are the ones we have now. They started with one, which I believe the first one is what is the Dream Tower now, right? What's the registration? The registration tower.
The Fantasyland Tower.
The Fantasy Tower.
Sorry,
I thought that was the first one.
I think the first one was the front, or the Adventure, right?
The Adventure Tower was the first. Okay, so I got it wrong. Adventure was the first. That's right. The Adventure was the first one. Then it was Fantasy, followed by the Dream. Is Frontier. It Frontier?
Frontierland.
I'm thinking of the old names.
Thinking of cruise ships.
But there was the Dream Tower. There was that was like before this last overlay where they named them after sections of the park.
Right.
They had these other names. So anyway, they built those up over the course. Starting in the 60s, they started building the towers. But then in 1999, to make room for Downtown Disney, Disney demolished that. I never got to see that. My first visit wasn't until 2000. And at that point, everything that is California Adventure, Downtown Disney, and the Grand Californian were all piles of dirt. It was just the Disneyland Hotel, the monorail, and Disneyland Park. And everything in between, there was all construction walls and a path and mounds of dirt. And I still thought it was beautiful. So I never got to see that hotel in its original buildings.
I think it would have been cool to see the monorail because the monorail used to go to the hotel, and they had like a monorail cafe in the hotel, right?
Right. Well, that's it. That was in the original portion of it. So if you think of where the monorail station is now,
yeah,
that's where it always was. That didn't move.
Oh, see, I for some
all
reason
that area,
moved, yeah.
all that area where Earl of Sandwich and the AMC and the Rainforest and all that area there, and the ESPN, that was where the original hotel was.
Okay.
And then that was what was built in 55, and then in the 60s they started building the towers. Now, rooms there, you have standard, deluxe, premium rooms with a pool view, premium views with a Downtown Disney view, and then you have club level. All of them sleep 5. Some suites sleep as many as 8. They also have some of the most... they do have some suites, and there are 8 signature suites: the Adventure Suite, the Ambassador, the Big Thunder Suite, the Fairy Tale Suite, the Mickey Mouse Penthouse Suite, and the Pirates Suite. And those all sleep 6. Now, those rooms, obviously, they're incredible, and we actually have some video up of. I know we filmed the Big Thunder Suite, we filmed the Mickey Mouse Penthouse Suite, and I believe we also filmed the Ambassador. I think we did. But we did that a few years ago as part of our 7 Resorts in 7 Days Disneyland series. And those are really cool. Those you can expect easily $3,000 to $4,000 a night, easily. So those are very expensive, very special. But generally speaking, like I said, these are larger rooms, and they all sleep 5. And price point at the Disneyland Hotel, you're going to look at, on average, depending on time of year, about $450 a night. I've seen them as low as the high 200s, but that's rare. But usually you're looking at that $350 to $450 range for these rooms. Now, for a long, long time, the Disneyland Hotel was my favorite. It has been supplanted by the Grand now, because the only reason I didn't like the Grand was I didn't like the rooms in the Grand. They were dark, they were dank, they felt smaller to me than the rooms in the Disneyland Hotel felt. The rooms in the Disneyland Hotel, especially after their last rehab, which was about, I think, 5 years ago, they went with these like Wedgwood blues and silver and cream, and it's gorgeous. It's elegant without being stuffy. Room's just really comfortable, and they bring in these elements. The headboard over the bed is a carving of the castle, and there is a switch on the nightstand that you can switch, and the headboard starts lighting up, and it plays a music box version of When You Wish Upon a Star. So really, really cool. Or Dream As Wish Your Heart Makes, excuse me. Dream As Wish Your Heart Makes is what it plays. So those little touches in there are amazing. So I still love the Disneyland Hotel. Absolutely. But let me throw it over to you, Tyler and Katrina. What are your thoughts about the Disneyland Hotel?
Do you want to go? And we're like, I don't know. For me, when we first went there, I was never able to stay there when I was a child because we were local. So there was no reason for us to stay. But when we were older, when Tyler and I first started dating, we stayed over at the Disneyland Hotel, and I was so excited because that was like a dream come true. I wanted to see that headboard. I wanted to flip that switch so I could hear the song and go to sleep, listening to it, and just the view of just downtown Disney or, wherever. Like, all the views are great except for like the back of the Frontier one because it's just the parking lot. But everything else is fantastic. And then when we stayed at the Grand, kind of like you, my heart went to the Grand Californian just because it was newer, it was refurbished. But I do love the Disneyland Hotel, but it's in desperate need of a refurb. Like, the carpets need to be redone, the windows need to be redone, because if you're staying on the inside of the hotel, you can hear Trader Sam's all night. And for me, I think back of when we did the Run Disney events before they canceled them. It drove me crazy because we would have to get up at like 3 a.m, and all we heard until 2 a.m. were people screaming and talking and the music from Trader Sam's, and it would drive me nuts.
I've never had that happen.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never had that
in a
happen.
couple rooms, actually.
It drove us crazy, and they are in desperate need to redo their rooms, make them more kind of like not electronic savvy, but do like more USB ports and just update their rooms to like current times. And I would be super stoked to stay there again, but for the price point right now, it's still kind of I would rather stay at the Grand. But I still love to visit there though and go get drinks over at the Trader Sam's and go have dinner at Steakhouse 55.
I want to say they completed their last rehab of those rooms in 2013. So it's been about 5 years. Because I remember getting a sneak peek at one of those rooms when I was doing an ABD out there, and I'm pretty sure it might have been 2012, but I want to say it was 2013. So it's been about 5 years, which technically is not in the lifespan for a rehab. So I would imagine if they're going to rehab those rooms, it's going to be another couple of years.
I'm assuming not before they're done with the new hotel.
They definitely need to do it before. I feel like they should be doing it like as soon as they're done with the new hotel, or kind of right before, because as soon as that new hotel is open, this hotel is, for me, I would not stay there at all.
Well, you know, a big part of its appeal to me is the history, not just the history of the place itself, but when you're in the area by the convention center, right down from where Steakhouse 55 and Goofy's Kitchen are, and we'll talk about those in a moment. They've got that massive shadow box wall of all this memorabilia.
Oh yeah.
From back in the 50s. I think they have Roy Disney's cast member pin. And they have all this like really cool stuff. You could spend an hour just staring, because when I say it's, shadow box doesn't do it justice. This shadow wall,
yeah.
it's huge, and there's hundreds of items in it.
Beginning.
What's that?
The map in the beginning, as soon as you walk into the Disneyland Hotel, it kind of like comes to life. It's like a whole wall, and it's the map of Disneyland. And the lights turn on so you can see like the carousel going around, and I think you could see, was it rocket rods or not rocket rods? The Tomorrowland
Astro
stuff.
Orbiter.
Yeah, Astro Orbiter going around.
Tinkerbell fly across it and stuff.
And
so
it's
really
it's
cool.
magical. It's a magical place. And just like the Shadow Wall, you can easily spend an hour just like staring at stuff, reading the, boxes of Mickey Mouse that were sold at the drugstores and stuff, just to see what it looked like.
Sorry. I was just gonna give you my impression really quick, that because I've never stayed there, but when we go together, I know that prior to your new love of Grand California, and you always want to stay there. So the first part of the trip is, we pull up into the Disneyland Hotel, and I still have that feeling, like, even though I haven't stayed there, it did immediately, you always say, come see my room and stuff like that, and it does have a feeling
Not in a
like,
creepy way.
No.
That's not. It was not. There's nothing creepy about.
We
that.
make sure to go in pairs. But I still kind of remember the first time I went in there with like going to the Disneyland Hotel the first time with like Craig, and he was like pointing out stuff to me, and and one of the pastimes you like to do, even though you don't drink, is you love hanging out at Trader Sam's.
Oh, I
and
do.
So there is this sense of like a community that you kind of fall into right away when you stay there, but it does feel elegant to me. Like the Grand Californian feels like very elegant, but this still has this elegance in a different sense. Like Katrina talked about this massive
retro
Disneyland
elegance.
map. Yeah, exactly. I love that in the lobby there are teacups that are the chairs that you sit in, and then each tower has memorabilia, like you talked about the history. In the Adventure Tower you have the little maquettes from the Jungle Cruise, yeah. And you use the restroom down there, and the first floor, like the wallpaper is just so cool because it's all made of all the old posters of stuff, and it's just like it's not theming on a level that we have in Disney World. That was the first part that took me, because Disney World is very, the golden word right now is immersive, but it feels Disney, and it really feels like if this is your first trip there and you're staying there, that you're like, oh wow, I'm like a prince right now, or something like that, and I do love the accessibility of, yes, Grand California is closer and you have an entrance in the park, but it is still really cool to be like, I always thought it was the coolest thing in the world when you would have us come meet you at Trader Sam's, and like it's nighttime and the tiki torches are going and we're just like sitting out there, and you've got these towers here, and Trader Sam's sometimes can be a little stressful trying to get the table, but there was just something where I was like, oh, this is like Disney cool.
It is. It's got a vibe to it, depending on what time of the day it is. The vibe of this hotel changes. It's got the, the pool. The
pool's beautiful too.
The feature pool has a slide that is themed after the monorail, with the with an old version of the original Disneyland sign.
Yeah.
Over it.
And it has the Bob Gurr monorail. It's an old monorail too.
It's a Mark I, yeah.
Yeah. And rooms with a pool view are incredible. I mean, really, it's a great view. It's that the view of that pool is amazing. And I can't. Every time I have a pool view, I can't help but sit there and take about 20 pictures out the window.
I think you had one when we did the What We Love About Disneyland video, because that was when we were filming the headboard. I think that was it was just the perfect level in the tower, that you were like just above it, but not too high, that you were just like, wow. It's just kind of, you get to those views and those perspectives, and I know Katrina said that they're not all great, but there are some views in there where, I was just talking about this, when you're in a taller hotel and you can kind of see where it all has gone. You can see the reach of where Disney is right there, and it's kind of cool because it's different there than it is here.
It also has, let's talk about concierge a little bit. It also has a really cool concierge lounge. It's on the top floor of the Adventure Tower, right? The Adventure Tower. It's on the top floor with this unbelievable view of downtown Disney and Disneyland Park. It's a great place to watch the fireworks. Actually, if you're in concierge and you're staying on that floor, all of those theme park view rooms, those are those premium concierge club level rooms, all have that view where you can watch the fireworks from your room. You can also do that in the Frontier Tower if you're on the top floor, but toward the front closest to downtown Disney. I had one of there's a suite. There's some suites up there. Those suites have balconies. There are 2-room suites. There's a living room and a bedroom. Those suites are the only ones in that tower, are the only ones that have balconies. And I got one that was on the corner, was able to be out on my balcony and have this killer view of the fireworks. There, if you've done club level at the Grand, club level at the Disneyland Hotel is definitely nowhere near on par.
Oh, really?
Nowhere near on par. The Grand up their game when they redid that lounge, the Veranda Lounge. They completely updated all their offerings. The amount of time because breakfast in that lounge runs from like 6 to 10:30 in the morning. So
in the Grand, yeah.
In the Grand, it's really unusual, and they'll have all this. The spread they put out at the Grand is amazing. When I was staying at the Disneyland Hotel the last time, and I was in the club level, and I went up, and for breakfast, they had the normal cereals and breads and some of the the regular danishes that you get at any Disney hotel, and then they had a wicker basket full of little Mickey waffles under a heat lamp, and I'm like, oh, this is just sad. This is just sad. So, no, club level for me at Disneyland Hotel is nowhere near on par. Then again, the price difference between club level at the Disneyland Hotel and club level at the Grand is, I think the Grand is probably 2.5 times the price to stay club level. Not unusual for a standard room, club level at the Grand to go for $1,100 a night. It's a standard room, okay? That's not a suite. That's a standard room. Whereas Disneyland Hotel, you're probably looking at about $550, $600, depending on the time of year. I've gotten them cheaper than that. I've gotten them for $400. It all depends on when you're traveling. It all depends on occupancy. But some of the other things about this hotel that I really love, Steakhouse 55.
My favorite restaurant on property.
It really is arguably the best restaurant on property, and I am putting it against Napa Rose.
Yep.
I feel
I would eat at Steakhouse 55 before Napa Rose.
I feel like Steakhouse 55 maintains a more consistent meal than Napa Rose. Napa Rose, I've had overall great meals, but I've also had some meals that I walked out going, yeah, no, that wasn't worth what I paid. I've never had that experience, or at least if I have, it's been very, very, very limited at Steakhouse 55. But the great thing about Steakhouse 55 is the breakfast. Dinner's amazing, don't get me wrong, but the best kept secret on property is the breakfast at Steakhouse 55, especially the Eggs Benedict. Oh my God, those Eggs Benedict are
They have
amazing.
3 different kinds.
Do they know how to make the eggs there?
Yeah, they do actually.
They
had
have
some-
the eggs there,
had
unlike
some
Carnation
rough-
Cafe. Yeah, no, they have 3 different kinds of Eggs Benedict. Is all I was going to say. They have a crab one. They have the regular, the traditional, and then now I'm blanking. I think it's a vegetable.
I feel like it's
one.
a Midwestern one.
Yeah. Now I'm
know.
blanking on the third one, but.
But everything else is fantastic. Their breakfast is great. Their coffee is strong to get you awake and ready to go to the parks in the morning.
Yeah, their coffee is not your standard Disney coffee. They definitely, it's like It's like almost like motor oil in a really good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bold. Their coffee is bold. It's full-bodied coffee, but it's not that crappy burnt French roast Starbucks garbage.
Right.
So yeah, no, this coffee's got legs to walk.
And they also have the tea party that they have in the middle of the day. They expanded to kind of get the use out of Steakhouse 55, and so now they have like a high tea in the afternoons where you can make a reservation and go and they have like certain sections, so you get like tea sandwiches and chocolate covered strawberries, and they theme it to kind of like what the holiday is. So during Halloween they have a Halloween version, and they have Jack Skellington chocolate covered strawberries, and then for Christmas they have a Christmas layover where they have like certain kind of like Christmas themed.
Yeah, right now they're doing Pixar stuff.
Yeah, they're doing Pixar stuff right now.
Cool.
So it looks like the Pixar ball for the chocolate covered strawberries, and I've never done it yet. I still really want to. They have like a champagne package, and then they have just like the normal one for kids. So they have kid-friendly foods, obviously. So my idea was like I was going to bring my niece when she came to visit, so I can make an excuse to go, because if I just went by myself, it'd be weird.
It's what you do for work, dear. You don't need an excuse. And I want to see this.
I guess we should do it.
I want to see this, so I want you to go and do that.
We should do it for Halloween,
we can
actually.
Yeah, we'll go
do that
To
Halloween
Jack
one. That sounds
Skellington
cool.
and strawberries.
Yeah, so I mean, Steakhouse 55, unbelievable, right? And then next to that is Goofy's Kitchen, which is their character meal.
I just had my first experience there with you during the ABD, and I've only ever walked by it before. I loved it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. First of all, great character interaction, but the food.
Yeah.
The food is so good.
We've had breakfasts all over as part of that ABD. So we did like Storytellers Cafe, which was also good. The plaza inside of the park, which was good too. They were all good, but this one had the most diverse offerings when it came to breakfast food.
Especially for kids.
Oh yeah.
Especially for kids. The kids area of the buffet.
That peanut butter and jelly pizza.
The peanut butter and jelly pizza. I turned Rhino onto that, and
that's all I ate.
That's all he ate. Which is why you have to take Rhino by the hand and bring it to the kids buffet. But no, it's more brunch than breakfast. There's a lot of more lunchy items too on there, and like I said, great character interaction, and absolutely awesome. And then of course there's Trader Sam's, which I don't think there's a better hotel bar ever anywhere. Yeah. And I do not like ours out here at the Polynesian nearly as much. Ours feels like it's an assembly line. It feels like this was popular someplace else, so let's recreate it and kind of make it the corporate version of Trader Sam's.
Yeah.
Whereas the one out there feels like it was organic. It was like fans put this together.
Well, the one out there too is like when you're on the patio, you're literally against the building. So they've got the tiki torches on fire. You're still kind of under the hut a little bit. And ours is like you go down the hallway out and around the corner. So they feels like, okay, well here's Grog Grotto and then here's Grog Grotto 2. So it doesn't feel like, whereas there, I've never really felt left out when I was on the patio, but here for ours, I feel left out. So if you've only been to the Disney World one, you have to understand this one feels a little more like one unit, I would say.
You're a part of it.
Yeah, a little more comfortable, but still like, yeah, you don't ever feel like you're not in the groove, in there. So.
And I feel like too that with the special drinks and the little fun effects that happen and stuff, I think they went a little bit too far in Orlando, because it's like sometimes you're sitting in there and it's just one after another. They're coming up with every time you order a drink, something special happened, and they only have like 3 of those in Disneyland in California.
Well, be more specific for people who've never been, so they understand what you're talking about.
Well, so for those that don't know, anytime there's certain drinks that if you order, there's like a little effect that goes off. Like if you order an Aoa, you can hear chanting start, Aoa, Aoa, and then you the bartenders like squirt water on everyone, and it's just there's like thunder and lightning. So it's really cool. You know, there's a volcano one where out the window you can see the volcano erupting. They use like projections to do it, but for some reason it's exactly what you said, Pete. That it feels like it's just an assembly line where they're like, hey, people love these effects that we had, so let's just make every drink do it. And at a certain point, you're like, it kind of loses its luster. So to me, it is not as fun as Enchanted Tiki Bar.
The charm and the appeal of Trader Sam's at the Disneyland Hotel is not something that should be attempted to be replicated. I think the Polynesian should have taken inspiration from that and created their own that was unique to that location. Instead, they just tried to do Me Too, and that never works well.
Well,
And
Well, you know what I
Me Too
mean.
does
Stop.
never
I'm
work
not.
well. Yeah.
I swear too, and it could just be in my head, but I've been to both of the bars a number of times, and I swear that the drinks are stronger in Disneyland. I really, really think they
Oh,
are.
it wouldn't surprise me.
I just feel like when you get a drink, like they have the shrunken zombie head, and that has like all these different liquors in it, and when you get it at Florida, it's very sweet, and it's just not the same. And then in California, it's like, oh wow, there is alcohol in this. I can taste it. So, I just think that for your money, it's a better deal at California.
I feel like I'll give it that it has more seating, because it's really hard to get seats at the Disneyland one because it's smaller inside, a huge amount. I don't know how many seats smaller, but it is a lot smaller inside, and there's always a line out the door to try to get inside at the Disneyland side. And then on the outside, they need to make more seating, and they only have one bar to get your drinks from. And on the Florida side, they actually have an outside area where you can grab your drinks, buy them, and sit down. But in California, if you want your drinks to go, you have to wait in the line and to get inside to get the drinks. They don't have an outside bar. And rumor has it that they're going to change it soon. They're be closing the Tangaroa Terrace for a while, and I'm not sure why. So I'm not sure exactly when. This is just rumors, but they're going to try to make an outside bar to get your drinks to go.
A walk-up bar.
A walk-up bar.
Do you think they're going to? You don't think they're going to get rid of Tangaroa Terrace?
No, they can't.
I think they're going to make it smaller, maybe, because they have this. This is my guess, but they have an area when you walk inside where they kind of form a line to the side, and then there's like a kitchen, and they might be getting rid of part of that area where you wait inside for to order your food, and they might make that the area for the walk-up bar.
And it's a good segue into talking about Tangaroa Terrace. That's the counter service restaurant at the Disneyland Hotel. And again, because I think so far for me, the food and beverage service at Disneyland Hotel is stellar.
Yeah.
Between Steakhouse 55, Goofy's Kitchen, Trader Sam's, and Tangaroa Terrace, you really have a lot of great food and drinks. But Tangaroa Terrace, same thing. It's really good counter service food.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's great food. I now you've gone through all the lists, and I'm starving. But
yeah, really.
I do. We oftentimes we'll start at Tangaroa Terrace and then end the day at Trader Sam's, and stuff. And what I like too is they're always freshening up freshening up the menu. So it's about to go through another refresh as well. So I look forward to seeing what the offerings are there.
Well, all right. So scale of 1 to 10, Tyler, what do you give the Disneyland Hotel?
Well, it's difficult for me. I didn't say my impressions earlier, so I'll just do it really quickly. The Disneyland Hotel has a lot of heart, and it reminds me so much of my childhood because I was there all the time with my dad when I was a kid, and they used to have a marina in the middle where the pool is now, and they used to have a nighttime show that you could think of as like a kind of a junior version of World of Color. And they used to have these amazing waterfalls that you could walk underneath. And so to me, that was like a huge part of, and I know that things always have to move forward, but to me, that was so much personality that they've taken out of that hotel. And granted, we have Trader Sam's now and things like that. So I do love that. But I miss some of the old stuff, and so, and I, I'm there with Katrina on rooms. The rooms are not necessarily my favorite. I think once that new hotel opens, they really need to redo them. I mean, I would give it altogether a 7 because I just think it is really close to there, but it's not there yet. But if you are looking for the most Disney place to stay on property of the 3 hotels, this is like the most, by far, has the most Disney injected into it. So just going there puts a smile on my face. I love being at the hotel. I don't know if I love staying at the hotel. So yeah, I give it about a 7.
Katrina, what about you?
I think this hotel is like, I don't want to like think of the word like fantasy, like magical. Like it just says this is what Disneyland should be. And so before you even get to the park, you just feel like you're already there. I would say I would give it like an 8.5 because of all the cool amenities that come with it. Like the dining, I think is phenomenal there. And the rooms, like Tyler, they're okay, but that headboard, it like kind of like sells it, I feel like. And all the like Trader Sam's, Steakhouse 55, I'll give it like an 8.5.
All right. Rhino, what about you?
I haven't actually stayed there, so I can't weigh in too much like on the rooms and the comfortability of that. I've been in the rooms and walked around and stuff. So if I think the Grand Californian is a 10, and so my perception of the time I have spent at the Disneyland Hotel is I would probably put that at like an 8. It's really solid. I think it's a little bit further away from the parks, which is still okay, but you can't, it's like what you said, you can't really beat like all those food options that are there. I like all the Disney touches. I feel like it's just, you feel like you're at Disney. And I think I'll give it an 8 having not stayed there. Yeah.
And for me, I would give it between an 8 and an 8.5. The history of it, because every time I stay there, I feel like I'm enveloped in the history of the original Disneyland resort. A time before there was Walt Disney World, a time before there were 3 million Disney resorts everywhere, and for me, it's where, while it may be physically further away from Disneyland Park than the Grand Californian, emotionally, it's a lot closer. So for that reason, and I also think this hotel is generally worth what you pay for it. I think the rooms are spacious. I think they're elegant without being stuffy. I think they have touches and elements in them that make them really unique and special. And generally speaking, I think this hotel is worth what you pay for it. So yeah, I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I was a little disappointed my last stay, but that's unusual. That's very unusual. I've stayed there dozens of times. So, and I always walk away feeling like I'm really glad I was there. And to the point where I'm sitting here talking about this, I think that next time I go out there, I'm going to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. But, all right, that is going to do it for our show for this week, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back with you again next week with another episode of the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged. Have a great week, everybody.